China's unprecedented warning to North Korea signals a dramatic shift in a historically steadfast alliance, leaving many to question, is this the end of Beijing's tolerance for Pyongyang's provocations? The stern stance taken by the Chinese government not only challenges decades of cooperative diplomacy, but also raises critical concerns about regional stability in an already volatile East Asia. As the geopolitical chessboard shifts, alliances are tested, and new strategies emerge. One question looms large: could this rift between China and North Korea trigger broader repercussions for global security? Let's find out in this video. Let's start with China's foreign policy shift. China's diplomatic shift. The long-standing alliance between China and North Korea, established in the aftermath of World War II, has undergone significant transformations over its 75-year history. This relationship, once characterized by the metaphor of being as close as lips and teeth, has evolved into a complex diplomatic arrangement marked by mutual distrust and strategic calculations. The foundation of China and North Korea relations was cemented through the 1961 Mutual Defense Treaty, which remains China's only formal defense agreement with any nation. This alliance was strengthened by their shared communist ideology and geographic proximity, though periodic tensions emerged as North Korea attempted to leverage China against Russia during the Cold War. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, China's approach toward North Korea has shifted dramatically. Key policy changes include support for UN sanctions following North Korea's nuclear tests, reduced diplomatic engagement, with Xi initially refusing to meet Kim Jong, and implementation of unilateral sanctions on North Korea's missile and nuclear testing program in 2017. The economic relationship remains significant, with China accounting for over 90% of North Korea's total trade volume and most food and energy imports. However, Beijing's strategic calculations have evolved, particularly as North Korea has expanded its missile and nuclear programs since the early 2000s. Several critical factors have contributed to the deterioration of China-North Korea-Russia relations. North Korea's nuclear weapons development has been a significant source of tension, with Beijing calling Pyongyang's first nuclear test in 2006 a flagrant and brazen violation of international consensus. The relationship faced further strain when North Korea deliberately timed its nuclear and ballistic missile tests to coincide with high-profile Chinese events, including the BRICS Summit and the Belt and Road Forum. The most recent breaking point emerged with North Korea's dramatic tightening of ties with Russia. In June 2024, the signing of a mutual defense treaty between Russia and North Korea signaled a significant shift in regional dynamics, potentially undermining China's historical influence over its neighbor. This development has intensified Beijing's concerns about its waning leverage over Pyongyang and its inability to restrain North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Economic implications. The economic relationship between China and North Korea has experienced unprecedented disruption, with bilateral trade showing a significant decline. Recent data reveals that China's trade with North Korea dropped by 6% year-on-year in the January-November period of 2024. The trade relationship between China and North Korea, once a cornerstone of their alliance, has undergone profound changes, especially in recent years. China continues to be North Korea's dominant trade partner, contributing to approximately 98% of Pyongyang's official total imports and exports as of 2023. However, this economic lifeline is under growing strain. By the first 11 months of 2024, trade volume had dropped sharply to $1.93 billion, reflecting a significant downturn. Border trade applications at key checkpoints have been halted, and cross-border activities have declined substantially, largely due to the implementation of stringent UN sanctions. International sanctions imposed in 2016 and 2017 by the UN Security Council have dramatically reshaped the economic interactions between the two nations. These sanctions have restricted most exports and some imports, severely curtailing cross-border activities and limiting access to essential goods, including food. As diplomatic tensions rise, the already precarious situation has been exacerbated by Chinese customs officials tightening controls, particularly on individual shipments and personal items. North Korea's growing isolation has further amplified these challenges, leading to severe restrictions on freedom of movement and trade, leaving both economies to navigate an increasingly complex and strained relationship. The regional economic implications extend beyond bilateral trade. China's role as North Korea's economic lifeline has created complex market dynamics across East Asia. The trade relationship recovered to roughly 82% of pre-pandemic levels in 2023, but remained below previous benchmarks in early 2024. The economic strain has particularly affected specific sectors. North Korean exports to China now primarily consist of basic items such as wigs and artificial eyelashes, processed using cheap North Korean labor. This shift represents a significant change from previous trade patterns that included more diverse industrial and natural resources. The border crackdown has intensified the negative effects of earlier UN Security Council sanctions. Chinese middlemen continue to play a crucial role in facilitating trade, often operating in gray areas of international law. These activities have created a parallel economy that operates alongside official trade channels, complicating efforts to assess the true scale of economic relations between China and North Korea. Military tensions. WARNS. Military tensions between China and North Korea have escalated significantly, marked by unprecedented security measures along their shared 1,400-kilometer border. The relationship between these traditional allies has entered a new phase of strategic uncertainty, particularly as North Korea strengthens its ties with Russia. China has significantly escalated its border security measures in recent years, reflecting deepening concerns about the stability of its relationship with North Korea and the potential for conflict spillover. Advanced technologies have been deployed to strengthen control over the shared boundary, including installing smart facial recognition cameras designed to monitor and track cross-border activities with precision. Alongside these technological upgrades, Beijing has invested heavily in infrastructure to enhance enforcement capabilities, such as constructing new deportation centers to manage unauthorized entries and implementing 18 strategically placed border police stations to ensure a robust presence along the frontier. Further demonstrating its commitment to maintaining border integrity, China has developed state-of-the-art deep learning surveillance systems, valued at 26.5 million yuan. These systems are tailored to anticipate and address emerging threats by analyzing patterns and behaviors along the border. The intensification of enforcement is also underscored by China's plans to seal the border entirely if necessary and conduct control operations extending as far as 50 kilometers into North Korean territory. Such measures indicate Beijing's growing apprehension about the potential for instability in North Korea to spill over into Chinese territory, threatening regional security and prompting a preemptive, multi-layered response to maintain order and safeguard its interests. Chinese naval activities have increased significantly in response to regional tensions. In a recent demonstration of force, China deployed 152 vessels at sea, including three-quarters of their amphibious force. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, has also conducted joint exercises with Russian forces in the Bering Sea, incorporating ships and long-range aviation capabilities. China's military strategy has evolved in response to multiple challenges. The PLA has explicitly stated its contingency plans to secure North Korean nuclear weapons and fissile material, which could involve moving troops up to 100 kilometers into North Korean territory. This strategic positioning reflects Beijing's determination to maintain control over potential conflicts and their outcomes. The deployment of North Korean troops to Russia has further complicated China's military calculations, with estimates suggesting up to 100,000 North Korean soldiers could be deployed to support Russian operations. Beijing faces increasing pressure to balance its relationships with both Pyongyang and Moscow while maintaining regional stability. Chinese military officers have emphasized their readiness to respond to any threats, stating firmly that if a neighboring country regime collapses, if the new regime undermines our national interests and territorial sovereignty, we shall resolutely counterattack. This stance underscores China's commitment to protecting its strategic interests even at the cost of straining traditional alliances. The military tensions have prompted increased surveillance and defense preparations. China has fortified its defenses along the Sino-North Korean border, particularly following North Korea's nuclear weapons tests and missile launches. These developments have led to a complex web of military positioning, with China working to maintain its influence while preparing for potential scenarios that could threaten regional stability. Regional security impact. The deteriorating China and North Korea relations have triggered significant security realignments across East Asia, prompting regional powers to reassess their defensive postures and strategic partnerships. In response to the shifting dynamics involving China, North Korea, and Russia, South Korea has significantly bolstered its military readiness, adopting a more assertive approach to national defense. Central to this transformation is the country's robust strategy known as PSU, punish immediately, strongly, and until the end, which underscores a commitment to decisively countering any potential threats with sustained and overwhelming force. This doctrine marks a departure from more measured responses, signaling Seoul's growing resolve in the face of mounting regional tensions. One of the most prominent aspects of South Korea's enhanced defense posture is the increased deployment of U.S. strategic military assets. This includes advanced platforms such as aircraft carriers and long-range bombers, which bolster South Korea's deterrence capabilities and demonstrate the strength of the U.S.-South Korea alliance. Furthermore, the country has prioritized the enhancement of real-time information sharing systems with Japan and the United States. These systems are crucial for the effective tracking and monitoring of North Korean ballistic missile activities, enabling rapid and coordinated responses to potential provocations. South Korea's defense strategy is also reinforced by the continued presence of 28,500 American ground forces stationed on its soil. These troops serve not only as a deterrent but also as a testament to the enduring security partnership between Seoul and Washington. This multifaceted approach reflects South Korea's determination to navigate the complex and evolving geopolitical landscape, ensuring that it is prepared to respond decisively to any threats that may arise from the growing alignment between China, North Korea, and Russia. Japan has significantly adjusted its security outlook, with its latest defense white paper declaring the nation faces the most severe and complex security environment since the end of World War II. The Japanese government has identified multiple security challenges, particularly noting that China's military activities have extended beyond the so-called first island chain to the second island chain. The Defense Ministry has expressed serious concern over China's hardline external stance and increasing military activities, describing it as an unprecedented and the greatest strategic challenge. Japan's strategic realignment includes strengthening cooperation with like-minded countries and enhancing its defense capabilities against potential threats from both North Korea and China. ASEAN member states have voiced deep and unequivocal concerns over North Korea's continued ballistic missile tests, which they view as a serious threat to regional and global stability. These actions have further strained the already fragile security environment in East Asia, with ASEAN leaders emphasizing the potential ramifications for peace and prosperity across the region. This growing apprehension has been compounded by reports of North Korea deploying troops to Russia, a move that raises alarming questions about Pyongyang's role in exacerbating global conflicts and its alignment with Moscow's agenda. The presence of North Korean forces in Russia is seen as a direct threat to international efforts to resolve the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. By potentially prolonging the conflict, this deployment could further destabilize the global geopolitical order. For Southeast Asia, the consequences are particularly troubling, as the ripple effects of an extended war threaten to disrupt critical global supply chains that the region heavily relies upon. These disruptions have already begun to manifest, with rising food and energy prices adding to economic pressures across ASEAN nations. The situation has prompted ASEAN to consider practical measures, including tightening enforcement of UN sanctions against North Korea. Regional security experts note that North Korea's military cooperation with Russia could receive technological benefits that would advance Pyongyang's missile, satellite, and submarine programs. The evolving China and North Korea relationship has created a complex web of security challenges that extend beyond Northeast Asia. South Korea's polls indicate that a majority of its citizens now support acquiring nuclear weapons, driven by concerns about both North Korea's advancing military capabilities and China's growing influence. This shifting security landscape has led to unprecedented levels of defense cooperation between traditional regional powers, fundamentally altering the strategic balance in East Asia. Global alliance dynamics. Recent geopolitical shifts have fundamentally altered the dynamics between major powers in East Asia as traditional alliances face unprecedented challenges. The emergence of new military partnerships has created complex diplomatic scenarios that threaten regional stability. The relationship between Washington and Beijing has grown increasingly complex as North Korea expands its military capabilities. The United States now faces challenges across multiple regions, with China's response to North Korean provocations becoming a critical factor in bilateral relations. The Biden administration has outlined a balanced approach combining diplomatic engagement without preconditions, enhanced military cooperation with regional allies, and strengthened trilateral coordination with Japan and South Korea. Moscow's deepening military partnership with Pyongyang has created new strategic challenges for Beijing. In June 2024, North Korea and Russia signed a comprehensive strategic partnership treaty, marking a significant shift in regional power dynamics. This cooperation has included the supply of thousands of North Korean soldiers to support Russia's war efforts, the provision of military equipment, with approximately half of Russia's artillery shells sourced from North Korea, and the exchange of military technology and potential submarine capabilities. The global community has witnessed a significant realignment of traditional power structures. China's position has become increasingly complex, as it attempts to balance its relationships with both North Korea and the international community. Recent developments indicate that Beijing is increasingly uncomfortable about North Korea's engagement with Russia. In response to these evolving dynamics, the international community has taken decisive steps to mitigate the risks posed by these alliances. One key measure has been the implementation of stringent UN Security Council sanctions designed to curb North Korea's ability to engage in activities that threaten global security. These sanctions have been coupled with enhanced monitoring of cross-border movements, aimed at preventing illicit trade and ensuring compliance with international mandates. Moreover, diplomatic efforts have intensified, with increased pressure being applied to all parties involved. The goal of these initiatives is to encourage dialogue, reduce tensions, and bring about a more stable geopolitical environment. China's reaction to these developments has been notably measured, with Beijing avoiding direct criticism of Russia while expressing concern about the growing North Korea-Russia military cooperation. This cautious approach reflects China's delicate position as it seeks to maintain influence over North Korea while avoiding international isolation. The emergence of what some analysts call an axis of aggressors has prompted increased coordination among democratic nations. However, China has deliberately avoided appearing as part of a trilateral axis with North Korea and Russia, maintaining its strategic autonomy while watching warily as Northeast Asia's alliances shift. Diplomatic consequences. The diplomatic landscape between Beijing and Pyongyang has undergone a fundamental transformation. As evidenced by China's unprecedented support for 9 major UN Security Council sanctions resolutions against North Korea since 2006. The Security Council's evolving response to North Korea's nuclear ambitions has brought significant changes to China's diplomatic approach. Once a staunch supporter of Pyongyang, Beijing's position has shifted toward a more punitive stance, marked by its unilateral imposition of sanctions on North Korea's missile and nuclear testing programs in 2017. This change signaled China's increasing alignment with international efforts to curb North Korea's nuclear capabilities. The sanctions regime implemented during this period is among the harshest in UN history, underscoring the gravity of the global response. It authorized member states to inspect and seize illicit North Korean cargo and included firm calls for Pyongyang to rejoin the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. To ensure robust enforcement, the Security Council also established the 1718 Committee, tasked with monitoring compliance and sanction implementation. China's role has not been limited to sanctions enforcement. Its position as a mediator in international conflicts has grown considerably, reflecting Beijing's broader ambitions on the global stage. Between 2012 and 2017, China's mediation efforts expanded from involvement in 3 conflicts to 9, highlighting its increasingly proactive engagement in regional and international disputes. However, China's mediation approach has remained distinct. Rather than adopting a hands-on strategy, Beijing has favored process-driven facilitation, emphasizing harmony-oriented solutions that align with its principle of non-interference. This approach reflects China's strategic priorities, maintaining regional stability, safeguarding its economic interests, preserving political influence, and managing international pressure. Despite its efforts, Beijing's effectiveness as a mediator has often been undermined by North Korea's unpredictable diplomatic behavior, oscillating between dependence on Chinese support and direct engagement with the United States. Efforts to achieve a formal peace treaty to end the Korean War have also been fraught with challenges. The Panmunjom Declaration of April 2018 represented a potential breakthrough, as both Koreas agreed to pursue the transformation of the Armistice Agreement into a formal peace treaty. However, substantive progress has been elusive due to competing visions among the key stakeholders. China has strongly advocated for a legally binding treaty, which it views as a necessary step toward long-term stability and a formal restructuring of regional power dynamics. In contrast, the United States has preferred a bilateral statement with North Korea, reflecting broader concerns about the implications for the continued presence of United States forces Korea, the potential impact on regional security, and the complexities of establishing credible international verification mechanisms. Recent developments have further complicated peace prospects. China opposes UN Security Council meetings on North Korean human rights issues, stating they fall outside the Council's mandate and only serve to intensify confrontation and antagonism. China's growing frustration with the North Korean regime has exacerbated the situation, leading to internal debates about terminating the 1961 Sino-North Korean Treaty of Friendship, Cooperation, and Mutual Assistance. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has proposed parallel tracks to address both North Korea's desire for a peace treaty and international concerns about its nuclear program. However, this approach has met with limited success, as the United States maintains that first and foremost there has to be denuclearization. Future scenarios. Analysts project several critical scenarios that could reshape the future of China and North Korea relations, as both nations navigate an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape. Recent intelligence assessments indicate multiple pathways through which current tensions could escalate into broader regional conflicts. The most pressing concern in the region revolves around the potential for a nuclear crisis scenario. Intelligence reports outline a series of events that could lead to the deployment of nuclear weapons. These scenarios include North Korean artillery strikes targeting contested islands, which could provoke a South Korean military response involving air and naval forces. Such an escalation might trigger North Korea's use of tactical nuclear weapons, creating a highly volatile and dangerous situation. A more alarming possibility involves the outbreak of a two-front war in Asia. Military analysts have highlighted pathways where aggression by either China or North Korea could escalate into simultaneous conflicts. One scenario envisions North Korea launching an offensive during a crisis over Taiwan, exploiting U.S. focus on the region. Alternatively, coordinated attacks by China on Taiwan and by North Korea on South Korea could force the U.S. into a multi-theater conflict. Horizontal escalation, where existing conflicts expand into new areas, adds further complexity to these risks. Efforts to de-escalate tensions have focused on diplomatic channels, with China playing a central role. Beijing has maintained a strategic dialogue with both Koreas, emphasizing stability and leveraging its economic ties to encourage restraint. China's approach favors a process-driven model, advocating for incremental steps that balance denuclearization efforts with broader peace-building initiatives. Meanwhile, the United States has expressed willingness to engage in negotiations without preconditions, aligning with China's parallel track approach of pursuing simultaneous progress on security and diplomatic fronts. Looking ahead, the long-term dynamics of the China-North Korea-Russia relationship are poised for significant change. North Korea's increasingly close military partnership with Moscow underscores a strategic realignment that challenges China's traditional influence over Pyongyang. This shift is compounded by North Korea's resistance to adopting Chinese-style economic reforms and its unwavering commitment to nuclear weapons development. Intelligence assessments suggest that even without direct coordination between Beijing and Pyongyang, the risk of simultaneous conflicts in the region remains substantial. China's role as North Korea's primary economic partner is also under pressure as Pyongyang seeks to diversify its international relationships. This evolving dynamic reflects a decline in Beijing's ability to steer North Korea's strategic decisions, particularly as Pyongyang asserts greater independence in its policies. Recent developments, including North Korea's increasing military collaboration with Russia, highlight Beijing's waning influence and underscore the challenges China faces in balancing its priorities, preventing regime collapse in North Korea, avoiding regional conflict, and maintaining its influence while curbing nuclear proliferation. These complexities suggest that the coming decade will see further strain on the traditional China-North Korea alliance, with profound implications for regional and global security. Strategic analysis. The military balance between China and North Korea represents a complex strategic equation, with both nations maintaining substantial but distinctly different military capabilities. Recent assessments from defense intelligence agencies highlight the evolving nature of this military relationship amid broader regional tensions. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, maintains its position as a dominant regional force, with Beijing viewing a modern, capable military as essential to achieving its strategic objectives. The PLA has demonstrated increasing capabilities across multiple domains as advanced multi-mission ships and submarines, modern indigenous aircraft systems, enhanced unmanned aerial capabilities, expanded joint operations capacity, and strengthened missile defense systems. China's military modernization efforts focus on developing capabilities to counter what it terms strong enemy interventions, particularly in conflicts along its periphery. The PLA has conducted 3 carrier deployments with CV-T Na Shindong to the Philippine Sea in 2023, marking the highest number of such deployments in a calendar year. North Korea maintains one of the world's largest conventional military forces, with approximately 1.3 million active duty personnel, representing percent of its total population. The Korean People's Army's KPA arsenal includes conventional forces, 4,000 tanks, 2,500 armored vehicles, 5,500 multiple rocket launchers, 550 combat-capable aircraft, 70 submarines. North Korea's nuclear capabilities have expanded significantly, with estimates suggesting possession of enough fissile material for up to 60 weapons as of 2017. The RAND Corporation projects that North Korea could possess approximately 200 nuclear weapons by 2027. The regime's missile capabilities have demonstrated remarkable advancement, with successful tests of intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, capable of reaching the U.S. mainland. The Hwasong-15 missile, with an estimated range of 13,000 kilometers, represents a significant strategic threat. The Indo-Pacific defense architecture has undergone significant evolution to address the region's shifting security dynamics and emerging military challenges. The United States Department of Defense has spearheaded multiple initiatives aimed at strengthening regional stability and countering potential threats. These efforts include forging bilateral agreements with key allies such as Australia, India, and Japan to enhance advanced military capabilities. Additionally, the U.S. has expanded its defense cooperation with Papua New Guinea, integrated Australia and Japan into its force posture strategies, and increased bilateral training programs with Thailand and Indonesia to bolster regional preparedness. South Korea has also taken substantial steps to fortify its defensive posture. The deployment of the THAAD missile defense system exemplifies its commitment to countering missile threats, particularly from North Korea. Furthermore, the U.S. South Korea alliance has adapted to the region's evolving security landscape, culminating in the Washington Declaration of April 2024. This agreement reaffirmed the two nations' mutual defense commitments, highlighting the enduring strength of their partnership in the face of rising tensions. Regional security has been further enhanced through collaborative measures among key players. Real-time data sharing mechanisms between the United States, Japan, and South Korea have been established to provide early warnings about North Korean missile activity. These efforts are complemented by multi-year trilateral exercise plans designed to improve joint operational readiness and strategic asset deployments, such as nuclear-capable ballistic missile submarines. In a historic demonstration of U.S. commitment to the region, a B-52 bomber landed in South Korea for the first time in 40 years, symbolizing the strengthening of deterrence capabilities. China's military strategy includes contingency plans that could involve moving troops up to 100 kilometers into North Korean territory if deemed necessary to secure nuclear weapons and materials. This positioning reflects Beijing's determination to maintain control over potential conflicts that could threaten its strategic interests. The Department of Defense has emphasized that while conflict in the Indo-Pacific region is neither imminent nor inevitable, the PRC's unprecedented military buildup and coercive actions continue to destabilize the region. These developments have prompted increased coordination among regional allies, with a particular focus on strengthening deterrence capabilities and improving bilateral and multilateral partnerships. China's unprecedented warning to North Korea marks a significant shift in East Asian geopolitics, reflecting Beijing's growing frustration with Pyongyang's nuclear ambitions and ties with Russia. This transformation is evident in China's strengthened border security, support for UN sanctions, and strategic military positioning. The deteriorating relationship has led to regional realignments, with South Korea, Japan, and ASEAN nations bolstering their defenses and expressing concern over regional stability. Trade between China and North Korea has also dropped significantly, indicating the economic toll of this diplomatic crisis. As military preparations escalate on both sides, China's enhanced surveillance and deportation systems, along with contingency plans for potential intervention, demonstrate its resolve to protect its strategic interests. Meanwhile, North Korea's expanding nuclear arsenal and closer ties with Russia create significant security challenges. With China's influence waning and North Korea resisting reforms, the future of their relationship remains uncertain. How will these shifts reshape the security landscape in Northeast Asia and globally? Are we witnessing the end of China's role as North Korea's key ally? Please share with us your opinion about this in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next videos.